Welcome to the Vanessa Donlan Hypnotherapy Podcast, The Calm Reset. We had such a fabulous conversation with Leanne that she's back on, and we're going to continue this conversation. Um, and we're going to start with stigma and identity because both Leanne and I think this is such an important part of the puzzle with these medications. So, welcome, Leanne, back again. I'm so excited to
Yes,
continue this conversation.
me
So,
too.
is it cheating?
It really isn't. And I know we touched on it a little bit in the previous episode, but this concept that people are weak-willed or have no, um, stamina or can't stick to things and judging people by that, in my humble opinion, speaks not to the judged, but the judger. Um, you know, it, it's a most people have tried their butts off to unwind the years of inflammation and metabolic challenges and so on. And they've got to a point where it's either do something that you know will work, or you're risking your health and potentially your life. When you're talking about people with metabolic syndrome, high blood lipids, high blood sugar, cardiovascular risks, and so on, it is time. It's time to do something to help wind those back to a point where you can then take the reins back again. It is absolutely not cheating. And I was saying to one of the girls in the office that, I've had so many clients who've talked about, we talk about body image and those sorts of things. And to hear someone say, I'm never in a photo, I'm always the person taking the photo. I hate my body. All of those sorts of things, I think is such a shame
Mm,
and just such a travesty. So, if someone says that to you, oh, that's cheating, I'd ask, who do you think you're cheating and out of what?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, out of a healthy, long life.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy. Um,
Mhm.
I think, it's we touched on this before. It's not your fault. If
No.
you've been made to sit at the dinner table and eat all your dinner, you will not be able to leave the table until you've eaten every little bit off that plate, massive big plate of food.
Yeah.
This is generational sort of trauma that's been passed down, right? Like
Yeah.
if grandma was, sort of from the war and a scarcity sort of mindset, this is
Yes.
where people, unbeknownst to them, they've still got that in them. That's this programming that needs to be rewritten. I talk about updating. We update our phone, our computers, every program on our computer, but we don't update our own programs that are running us. The
Yeah.
subconscious mind is 95% of our mind,
Yes.
and it's driven by all of those programs from our past. So
Mm.
that's an interesting thing to think about. It's like, where has this thought come from that I have to eat everything off my plate? Why
Yeah.
couldn't I make a salad out of the leftovers that I can't finish right now? Because I've actually slowed down my eating. I'm now fuller, quicker than I've ever been before because I'm slowing it all down. And now there's, maybe half the plate that I'm going to turn into lunch tomorrow. That's not
Mm.
wasting. It's just,
No.
it's reutilizing.
Yeah.
It's actually making your life easier because now you
Yes.
don't have to sort of put together a lunch for the next day. But like it's all this stuff, there's starving people all over the world.
Yeah.
Eat it up, you'll be a big boy when you finish that. Yeah, you will be. It's
Yes.
that program, right? That and which
Absolutely.
so if someone believes that I can only succeed because of a drug, that's an identity that needs to be shifted.
Yeah.
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 Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, I think the other important thing with people too to understand how cortisol works in the body. And
Mm.
the stress hormone holds on to fat because it's worried that they might not get fed again. So if someone is highly anxious, highly stressed, the body is probably going to hold on to stuff more just in case it thinks like caveman days. I might not I might not get food again. So I'm just going to hold on to this just in case I don't get fed because my body's operating on this very, very high level of stress. Like I'm being chased by a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah. And I think too, the really important thing around cortisol, and by the way, it's so much easier to test that now. You can go into a chemist and get a saliva test,
Ah,
but you do need to know when to take those samples because your cortisol peaks and troughs over a 24-hour period.
yeah.
But where cortisol, it's supposed to peak in the middle of the
Yeah.
night because it wakes you up, and melatonin subsides in the morning. So those things are supposed to happen, but where it's peaking at the wrong time or peaking too much or for too long, it's causing inflammation in the body. So it's
Mm,
causing stress within the body as well. So, there's so many reasons to really understand cortisol and get it not under control, just get it balanced and back where it
mm,
should be.
mm.
So yeah, 100%. I think cortisol is a really good area to look. And two, if you've got a good holistic healthcare professional, that's something they might actually track.
Yeah, right. Yes. And I think too, just regulating the nervous system.
Yeah,
So when you,
absolutely.
if you're operating all the time in that sympathetic
Yes.
fight, flight, fright sort of space, that's unhealthy. But if you understand how the breath works, and even just by taking a big breath in, deep belly breath in, it tells your brain that you're safe and can
Yeah.
start to slow you down into more of that parasympathetic nervous system. And I think that's important. You can still operate. I think some people also have this mindset that if I'm going to be successful and get all this stuff done, I need to be, you know,
On.
but on, yeah, on,
Yeah.
on. But you can still be on and calm because obviously if you're stressed in that sympathetic nervous system all the time, the blood drains from your brain and it goes to your arms and legs so you can run from that
Yeah.
saber-toothed tiger that's apparently chasing you. Um, and how can you think properly anyway?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
If
exhaustion.
it's yeah. So that's another important thing. And that's what I do with hypnotherapy a lot is to sort of educate people on that regulating the nervous system because that helps everything. It's a
It
mind-body
does.
connection, right? Like we
Yeah.
need to everything to work together properly for us to operate at
Yeah.
our peak.
Absolutely. It's really imperative to tune into your body because a lot of people
Mm,
don't even recognize that they're oversense or overstimulated. Their nervous system is always overstimulated. They can't go to sleep 1 o'clock. They're still thinking through all their lists, waking up at 4, one of the lists pops into their head, then exhausted at 7, hard to get out of bed. And so the whole nervous system is dysregulated. And so
mm,
there needs to be a circuit breaker there as well. I can absolutely,
mm.
I remember you giving me, it was a pain one, giving me a hypno recording
Yeah,
for my shoulder. I had a frozen shoulder. There's a
yeah,
menopause
yeah,
thing, and it
yeah,
was fantastic because it broke this the language or the signaling I had in my head that, oh, my shoulder, I can feel my shoulder. It's going to be painful. I won't be able to sleep. It was amazing.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think too, when you have 70,000 thoughts going around in our head daily, which we all do,
Yeah.
those a lot of, they're all subconscious sort of thoughts, again, from our past. And
Mm,
if we can start to go, hang on a sec, if we do notice one, what is that the truth or a lie?
mm,
Am I a person that can only be successful by taking a GLP-1 drug? Or, you know, am I someone who can live in a healthy, regulated body? And why,
exactly.
yeah, and why not? Why can't I be that person? Of course you can.
Exactly.
So
Exactly right.
it's changing the story, the vernacular that we have going on in our heads. And I think that's really,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's really important. Um, yeah,
There's
and I
actually
think,
research that supports that too around nutrition. So we know that feeding practices up to about the age of 3, and so you're saying, there's particular cultures too where to eat more is better.
mm,
There's a group in Australia and they make fun of that with their mamas and stuff. It does make me laugh. More, more.
yeah,
And so what you're doing is overriding the innate. We're born with an innate ability to regulate our 24-hour caloric intake, our energy intake. And if we honor that in our children, by about 3, it's really well established, and they will know when they've had enough, and they won't tend to overeat as adults. So,
interesting.
absolutely. Yeah, the mind-body connection, so important.
Mm. For some people, it's a love language, right? Food
Yes,
is love.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eat up. I've made this for you. Eat
that's
up.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I think um, I've got an interesting case study that I did with a client. Um, we'll call her Emily. Okay. So she had significant weight loss on GLP-1. Physically, everything looked successful.
Right.
But emotionally, she lived with that constant fear of regaining if she was to come off.
Right.
And her doctor had suggested it's time to taper down, wanting to take. So she became really anxious and anxious that her appetite might regain back to what it was. And again, the belief that the medication was the only reason she had succeeded. So yeah, when her doctor suggested tapering down, all her panic set in.
Yeah.
And that created another problem. So, and it wasn't because of hunger, it was because of that identity again. We didn't chase more weight loss. That wasn't what we were doing. We were focusing on building that calm around food, which I think
Mm,
is really important.
mm.
And just restoring the trust back in her body
Nice. Yeah.
and strengthening the routine so she could live in that healthy, nourished body long term.
Yeah.
Um, so and processing that shame that she had for years and years of the weight that she was prior.
Mhm.
So that's a big thing, processing all of that for people.
Mhm.
And then over time, it shifted. It was amazing to see that shift, and her confidence stepped up, and she just started to believe in herself, believe that
Nice.
she could do it. So
Yeah.
that self-trust is
Yes.
really important. Yeah, so that was always really good. That was a great sort of case study to have. So
And
um,
trusting your body too, trusting
absolutely.
that if you do allow those signals to come through, and your nervous system's, calm and regulated, trusting that our bodies are amazing. And I think so often, people who are in any form of an unwell state, feel that their bodies are letting them down. But if you think about how much their body is doing to try to maintain it, and they are still functioning very well, it's incredible. So,
Mm,
really honoring the incredible intelligence of the body.
absolutely. And I think focusing on what you want,
Mm,
because what you focus on, you go towards, right?
yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I play golf, and this is a funny story. We were in Thailand playing golf, and we were on, I don't know, the 15th tee or whatever, and there was this little palm tree just to the left. I'm not joking, it probably was about that wide. In my head, I noticed it, whatever. Uh, I tee off, bang, straight in the middle of it. Couldn't believe it. Bounced off. I'm like, oh my God. So I hit again, and I said, I could not possibly hit that again. What did I do? Hit it again, straight, bang, straight into it. We played 2 days later and got to that same tee. And in Thailand, you have, oh, I've just forgotten what they're called. They pick the club for you and they drive you
Oh, a
around in the cart.
caddy.
Okay, so
Yeah.
go on, go
Yeah.
on. we had caddies, and so we had different caddies. And I said to her, "You're not going to believe it. On Tuesday, I hit that palm tree not once but twice. Teed off again, bang, straight in. Like you could not, if I had tried to hit that, but I was so focused on it. So, so what I'm saying is when you focus on what you want, not what you
Yes.
don't want, I don't want to hit that palm tree. Your subconscious hears hit the palm tree. That's
Yeah.
what it hears. If you're saying to yourself, I don't want to eat pizza, let's say, your
Yes.
subconscious hears eat pizza.
Yeah. Absolutely. They say that in psychology, go towards something rather than away from something, um,
Absolutely.
is a much
Yeah.
stronger motivation. Yeah.
So, and that's like I said before, if you start hearing, so those 70,000 thoughts that you have a day, and I'm sure some people have more, but 70,000 is about the amount of thoughts we have. You don't know, like I said, you don't always listen to them or hear them, but you might get a feeling, an emotion, and then that emotion creates a reaction.
Mm,
So for
mm,
some people, that reaction might be, I'm feeling a bit, whatever, I'm feeling a bit anxious, or I'm feeling a bit all of a sudden sad or
mm,
whatever.
mm.
But if you can, you know, cut that thought immediately with, that's not what I want. What do I want? I want to nourish and honor my body. Sorry, talking too much. It's making my throat.
It dries your throat out.
Mm,
Drink too.
sorry. Hydrate, hydrate, very
Mm,
important. Um, I think, yeah, being able to quickly cut that thought. Yeah, I think the focusing on the positive, what you want and where you're going is really, really important. So I have, in lieu of the GLP-1 movement and going, right, we need to support this, I created a program, a four
oh,
session program, which I think is important to,
yeah.
support people like what we've been talking about. But the session one I've done is reset the relationship with food. That's the
Nice.
topic of session one. And we're going to focus on emotional eating awareness. So when you
Mm,
start to be consciously aware of the thought that you heard or the feeling that you've got, "Hmm, is that true or a lie?" That's one of the things I always tell people to ask. Like, you know, am I, I'm not good enough to go and do XYZ. Well, is that true or a lie? Where did I get that from? Why did I make
yeah.
that thought up in my mind? Is it that I've only lost the weight because of the medication? Is that true or like, can I do it without it? The truth is, yes, of course you can do it without it if you're planning to go off it. Um, Hunger versus habit versus boredom.
Mm.
So that's a really good one to focus on. And like we spoke about before, slowing down the whole
Yeah.
eating thing, and that's critical, I think, with the medication. Um, so we know that GLP-1 medications suppress appetite, but it doesn't fix the emotional patterns.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
that's where I think, this is important to do some sessions around it. Pause, breathe, choose. That's something I always say. I think before you do anything, pause, take that big breath in and choose. Because we're going through choices every millisecond. We're
Yeah, that's
choosing,
right.
yeah, unconsciously. So choose correctly. Choose what your body needs. Choose what, will make you that future self that we're talking about.
And
Session
what
two,
better time to do that when there's a silent pause in those desireful thoughts to eat. When those have gone, there's just honestly couldn't think of a better time to just sit in that repose and do that and have that moment and have someone helping you move through all of those sorts of barriers to get to
yeah,
where you want to be.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and then in session two, and I think it's really important when you're doing a series of sessions, they're a week apart. So
Right.
there's a flow, there's the
Yeah.
momentum that's going on. Session two is the body connection and nourishment. So my body deserves quality not just less. So we're talking about
Yes.
nourishing. The focus is all about preventing under eating that we've spoken about
Nice.
before.
So
Um,
important.
yeah, preventing poor nutrition, obviously, protein and bone health awareness and all of that, and listening to those subtle hunger signals.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Again, becoming consciously aware of what's going
Mhm.
on. Um,
Because there
respect
would
for,
be some people would be very tempted to go with the not eating, oh, this is great.
yeah,
And this is what's causing me to lose weight, that I'm just simply not eating. It's been hard in the past. So they call that restricted eating or restrained eating. And
and that's that old diet culture, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
So if you
yeah.
look at people on a diet, restricted eating, 95%, and this has been repeated over and over, 95% will be unsuccessful restrained eaters. That's a class that you get put into. It's lovely, isn't it? And
Mm,
5% may be able to maintain that for a while.
mm.
So, it's so important to be able to, yeah, to feel good about nourishing yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Um, yes, and so that second session with the hypnosis theme, it's all about respecting the
Yeah.
body, respecting your
Nice.
body, desire, yeah, looking for nourishing foods, just
Mm.
desire, like really wanting to eat, crunchy, healthy, fresh,
Juicy.
um,
Yeah.
tasty, yeah, all of that stuff, juicy, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, craving protein, craving water, hydrating your body, whole foods, feeling strong and energized and supported. That's sort of the
Yeah.
theme around that. And then the session three is about the identity shift and the future self, which is we've sort of touched on a bit as well. But that's important. Like, see yourself in your mind as that person that you want to become,
Yeah.
that you are becoming. See yourself, see how happy you are. Like in your mind, visualize what she feels like, what people are saying to her, what she's wearing, what she's doing, how big her smile is, or him for that matter. It doesn't have to be a woman. Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, visualizing that future self. Um, and yeah, seeing it and even stepping into those shoes and
Mm,
trying it on for a moment and feeling
mm.
it and getting excited about it. So it's about hypnosis and change happens when you feel it in the body.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You've really got to feel it. And then, we've got 70,000 trillion cells in the body. So when we're feeling all of this happening in the body, it's it happens really quickly.
Exactly.
Um,
I mean, they say that we first there's thought and then there's the action and then there's, the physical manifestation of it. So yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, confidence and control, that's also in that third session. And just effortless, healthy habits.
Mm,
So
mm.
that just all becomes effortless.
Yeah, yeah.
What we're thinking about, if we're thinking about food, it's healthy food. My
Mm.
lunch, my healthy lunch, my whatever. It's not running to the cupboard and eating lollies. Hopefully your addiction to sugar, if that was a problem, has gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and you've replaced all of those unhealthy habits with healthy habits.
exactly. Yeah.
And then session four is just about sustaining that freedom because this is freedom.
Mm. Mm.
This is what
Exactly.
it's all about, becoming that
Yes.
version of yourself, that best version of yourself, which does, that's freedom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I love
So,
it.
yeah, so that's the program that I do around that. But yeah, it's really supporting people, but also empowering them because they have all the answers inside of them.
That's exactly right. I was going
And
to say, as you were talking about your program, one of the things in coaching is the importance. It's a bit like a roadmap. It's a bit like when you get in your car. Imagine you get in your car and you just think you want to go somewhere.
mm,
So you need to be able to know what that point looks like that you're going to be and
absolutely.
go
Yeah.
to. What does it feel like? How do you feel? What's different for you in your life when you
Mm,
get there? And
exactly.
then those steps to get there and having helping people around you is really critical to success as well.
Absolutely. Um, Now, this might be a good opportunity to ask you about this bio-optimize program
Yeah.
that you've got, because we touched on it and then forgot about it, and
Yeah.
then, but yeah, I'm really interested. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so it kind of started out of my journey with trying to get rid of. Did a hair analysis and it came back with some
Ah,
funky sort of readings. I was like, oh, that stuff's inside me.
yeah.
So then it started a process. It starts with getting rid of the non-stick pots and pans and then
Hmm.
the utensils and then the air fryer and then the rice cooker and then all the perfumes and so on.
Yeah.
And then it went to red light and then using sauna and circadian biology, and it just kept growing. So a lot of people would call that biohacking. But one of the
Mm,
things as I started to follow biohackers, big and small, in terms of their influence, was uh, they would say things and I go, that doesn't make sense from what I know about the body. That logically didn't work. And then I would go and research and go, that actually wasn't quite right. So then
mm,
I was like, people need to know how these things work. So we wrote and we coined the phrase bio-optimize. So it's not hacking your body, it's optimizing the natural intelligence of the body using
great.
all sorts of strategies, big and small, cheap and or free and more costly, like a sauna.
Mm.
And it can be even just the small things. Like I get up in the morning quite naturally now to the light, although it doesn't get light till like 7.
Oh, I know. Wow, isn't that
It's
amazing how quickly that
dark.
happened?
I know,
Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
exactly. And then I take off my blue blocker glasses, I put on my clear ones, and I sit, if I can, in the morning light, because morning light, even though it doesn't have the highest amount of blue light, it has the most specific blue light to switch on your circadian rhythm to get it functioning the way it should. So, I mean,
Beautiful.
that's, it doesn't cost anything. It feels great. And yeah, so that's bio-optimize. We want everyone to talk about optimizing their health, not hacking their body.
Yeah, that sounds gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I think there's all sorts of little things I've started to do at home too. And I mean, I've been very interested in, as little chemical as I can put into my body for a long time. I mean, I
Yes.
had that
Yeah.
skincare range,
That's right.
Fresh
Yeah.
Face, that was in the 90s.
You're ahead of
Um,
your time.
yeah, I was ahead of my time, and I think that's why it was so difficult at the time to get it going.
Yeah.
And there wasn't social media or
Yes.
any of this stuff that we're doing now back then. So it was
That's right.
really, really difficult. It was cool. Anyway, but yeah, been passionate about that for a long time. And obviously, I've also got my aromatherapy sort of background as well. So I
Yeah.
love oils, and that's what I use as a perfume. I love putting
Oh,
different oils in my skin, like lavender and things like that, and
absolutely.
using them for their emotional help as well as the physical, as well
Yeah.
as smelling beautiful. But I just actually put on our shower head. Um, it's like a filter,
Oh,
and it was
yes.
it was really inexpensive. And I've got one on our kitchen tap downstairs, and on all the showers, so the water's really soft as well.
Oh,
Which
nice.
which is it's only we've only had it for maybe I've had the one upstairs for maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but I'm really noticing and
Yeah.
the water and my hair and skin and everything. So any little thing that you can do,
Yes.
which is not ridiculously expensive,
That's
this
right.
was an inexpensive thing to do.
Yeah.
And I thought I may as well try it.
Yeah.
But
100%.
yeah. I mean, I'm 61 now, so I'm like, I want to be as healthy as I can be
That's
for my
it.
future, for my kids, for maybe I'll get some grandchildren one day and I can be around and healthy for all of them. But,
That's right.
obviously we all start to age, and it's not about aging. I'm not anti-aging.
Mm,
I'm I'm wanting to age well.
exactly. With
Mm.
vitality and health, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. Exactly.
And so getting back to the GLP-1 medications, that's what these, people who are on them or potentially wanting to go on them, that's what it should be about. Health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And I was thinking the other day, so one of my clients said, "Oh, what do I say if someone says to me, 'Oh, are you taking one of the Ozempic or something?'" And I said to her, well, you might ask her if she's on the pill or if she's taking
Mm.
statins. Like nobody does that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
she doesn't need to know. So, we sort
yeah,
of coined a reply that she was comfortable with that was, not rude, but doesn't, it just kind of settles it where it should be. So, yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think it's about supporting,
Yeah,
supporting people's health journey. And
exactly.
like you said, education is empowerment for people.
Mm,
So
mm,
when they understand and are educated about what they should be fueling their body with
yeah.
and how they should manage this journey
Mm,
on medication, and if they are planning to only do it for a certain amount of time, how they when they taper off and when they go off, how they can continue happily and sustain it, so they do have their healthy future self there
that's right.
in front of them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think
Exactly.
that's really good. It's
Yeah.
been so great talking to you about
You
this.
too. You too.
And I really love the whole body mind connection thing. And I think everything we've spoken about, plus the behavior and all of that, I think is a great way that we can support people.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So thank you very much. It's been
You're
great.
welcome. My pleasure. Thank you. I've
Yeah.
loved it. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
And yeah, here's to supporting people to live the best life that they can live.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.